I'm still trying to. What do the uniforms of the Afghani troops look like? It's about the poppy seed, brothers and sisters. It's about those drugs, those psychotropics. Because the drugs is what they use. The hallucinogens is what they use. That's their key weapon in this war against us. It's the drugs, the hallucinogens, the hallucinogens that can separate us spiritually from our God, and to have us not understand anything that's going on. And they can use that against us. And then the banks, because if it's illegal, you can't tax it. So the banks control it, untaxed finances. They can set up their own drug cartels to demoralize and destroy a society with drugs without tax. Money come right back to the bank, tax free. And then on top of that, because it's illegal, they can lock you up for having it, even though they have given it to you, and have you work in their slave camps, which are prisons, for free. That's what it's really about. Okay? There will never be a such thing as legalizing drugs. That's their weapon. So there's no war on drugs. The war have always been on us. Have always been on us. This is what they use. They sensationalize these drugs, all in your movies and all that. And then they teach your children about the drugs in school. A lot of these drugs children don't even know about until the school introduces it to them by trying to warn them against it. See, that's the psycho trick they use. I'm going to warn them about a drug they have never heard of. When really, by mentioning the drug, at least one of those children are going to try to figure out where is this drug. See, if you didn't mention it, they wouldn't be educated at all about it. They wouldn't know it existed. Go ahead.
One would be forgiven for thinking that these were the counterinsurgency tactics used by U.S. Army bases in Iraq and Afghanistan, or perhaps the military methods taught in third world despots, or taught to third world despots at the School of the Americas at Fort Benning, Georgia. But instead of being used in a war zone or the theater of occupation, they in fact make up the very visible security apparatus in London for the 2012 Summer Olympics.
For the 2012 Summer Olympics. And you know, you got the Dream Team going to be there, all the big stars there, the Queen Jubilee. They have dressed the whole UK up. You've never seen the UK looking like it's looking now. All the surveillance cameras are in place already. All in Leeds and Manchester, Birmingham. There's cameras everywhere. There's CCTV everywhere. So the surveillance grid have already been put in place. Read on.
London, which has the most street cameras per capita of any city on earth, has for the 7 years since the terror attacks of July 7, 2005, been a city whose political leaders would spare no expense to monitor its own citizens.
Go ahead.
But the Olympic operation goes above and beyond anything we have ever seen when a Western democracy hosts the games. Not even in China in 2008, used drone planes or ringed the proceedings with a massive high-voltage fence. But here in London, preparing a counterinsurgency and parking an aircraft carrier right in the Thames. Here is London adding scanners, biometric ID cards.
Scanners, biometric ID cards. Go ahead.
Number plate and facial recognition.
Facial recognition. Go ahead.
CCTV systems. Disease tracking systems.
Disease tracking systems. What are they planning to do? Read.
New police control centers and checkpoints. Stephen Graham at The Guardian refers to the entire state of affairs as lockdown London, as well as the UK's biggest mobilization of military and security forces since the Second World War. He is not exaggerating in the slightest. The number of troops will exceed the forces the UK has had in Afghanistan.
So they will have more troops in London during the Olympics than the troops in Afghanistan that's growing the poppy seed right now. Because there's no war there, unless they're tearing down some areas to plant more poppy seed. Read on.
It's not just the cost or the incredible invasion into people's privacy. It's the powers being given to police under the 2006 London Olympic Games Act, which empowers not only the army and police, but also private security forces to deal with security issues using physical force. These security issues have been broadly defined and include everything from terrorism to peaceful protesters, to labor unions, to people selling bootleg Olympic products on the streets, to taking down any corporate presence that doesn't have the Olympic seal of approval. To help them with the last part, there will be brand protection teams set loose around the city. These teams will also operate inside Olympic venues to make sure no one wears clothes or accessories with commercial messages other than the manufacturers, who are official sponsors.
Under Satan. Go ahead.
The security operation.
Another thing, all your corporations are under Satan, every last one of them. If you got a church that a 501c3 status, you're under Satan. Anyone that's incorporated, you're under Satan. He's the all-seeing eye at the top of your pyramid, buddy. Everything is linked in, and he's at the top. If he can control what you do and what you say, and there's a financial interest that you lose by going against his rules, you are bought and paid for. So there's many ways of selling out. Read.
The security operation also means the kind of street harassment of working class youth that will sound familiar here in the United States. As The Guardian reported, officers have powers to move on anyone considered to be engaged in antisocial behavior.
Anyone that's dealing with antisocial behavior, the police can move on. And see, that was the real reason they did the provocateur of the London riots early, so they can have this in place, so they can have rules and laws in place for what's about to happen. Read.
Whether they are hanging around the train station, begging, soliciting, loitering in hoodies, or...
So if you are loitering in hoodies, I wonder who they're targeting with hoodies. How can you be loitering with hoodies? If I have on a hoodie, that's me having on a hoodie. How is that suspicious behavior? So right now, what are they doing? Racial profiling. So the things you may do naturally, hang on a corner, or may go up the street and say, what's up at your boy at the corner store, and he's just hanging out, they're going to look at you suspicious because you got a hoodie on, and the police can move on you based on these laws. Or you might think this is just London, right? Oh no, there's 30,000 drones that's right now that been instituted within America borders alone. There's troops already on the street. We're already in martial law. They're about to roll it out. And the reason they've been targeting our videos and been trying to take them down is because we've been talking about this before anyone on YouTube or nothing, all this conspiracy garbage. We was telling people what the Most High was saying back then, before YouTube. And we told people on the streets of Philadelphia, listen, brothers and sisters, soon things are going to be fenced in and you will see tanks rolling down the street. I'll never forget that statement. And we're here. So they don't want a document. They don't want it visually documented that it been said before it even happened. And it was prophesied out of the Bible that they would take us down, just like they did in 70 AD, trying to fight the awakening. But a few of us is going to get through this. Even if I don't get through this, it's fine. Being out there on the streets, bringing forth this word, waking up our people, as long as we continue to do this work, it's well documented that we have worked and brought forth understanding and have awakened many. So my life is a small price to pay, brothers and sisters, for the number of people the Most High have allowed us to awaken. Finish reading.
It says, not to shock anyone, but there are no signs that any of the security apparatus will be dismantled once the Olympics are over.
Go ahead.
Local police forces have just been given an inordinate number of new toys, and the boxes have been opened, the receipts tossed away.
Hold up now. It tell you that the police have given a box of new toys. They got weapons over there that they didn't even tell you yet. And these people are not looking to harm anyone. These people in America, these poor people, they're just trying to get by. They're just trying to live their life. They're not trying to harm anyone. What is the threat? Bin Laden is dead, right? Listen clearly. Go ahead.
London will be left with a high-tech police force, terrible debt, higher taxes, with a camera around every corner. The only people who will leave this party enriched will be the private security industry.
And who are the people that are paying for all this added security in London and in the UK? Who pay the taxes? The citizens. So while they're telling you it's austerity and they have to cut your benefits and cut your jobs and cut your social programs, your taxes will now be put into enforcers who will be used against you, the taxpayer. But yet there's no money. They're bankrupt. Oh, but you can put missiles coming down on buildings, high-tech weaponry that our system, our society have never seen, but you're broke? No, you can pay for what you want to pay for. You can pay for weapons against the poor because that's your plan anyway. Because what happens to a society when they realize there's no more jobs, there's no more work? When you cut their social programs and cut their welfare, it's too many people that will come together for the sake of survival that you can handle. That's really what's going on. It's too many people. And because there's too many people that's going to come together against the small elite because you got the money, you got the food, you living good. Imagine if a million people came together because they had nothing to eat. They will get something to eat. And y'all understand this. So you're putting something in place to destroy and soft kill them.